So it's not that you have a heavy load in presentation, but you have a heavy load in organizing the food side of it. So this year we're going to have Daniel. I think some of you know that I'm working on getting a cemetery restored in Willoughby Hills that has a reenactor. I mean, not a reenactor, excuse me, an actual Revolutionary War soldier in it. Tony Hosevar of our area will reenact Edward Halstead. And he is in that cemetery. And Edward, God bless him, guarded the Hudson River, and then he could report to the Continental Army what the British were doing, because New York was such a vital position for them. So there's flyers in the back. We save money by not advertising. You are our advertising. So if you have a church that you can put this up in, or any other organization that you patronize, that you can help us, that would be great. And if anybody has questions, I'll put my cards in the back. You can call me. But camp is going to be great. And the kids are already calling. It's really interesting. I've had a number of calls from parents saying, tell me when I can sign the kids up because they're not driving me crazy. so I always enjoy hearing that. So Liberty Camp, Lake County, July 7th, the week of July 7th. And if Geauga County, the week of July 21st. The cost this year did go up because we just couldn't even make it with everything becoming so expensive. So it's $70 for the week, a real bargain. But that has been raised, and I want you to know that. But thanks to our donors, and we are very blessed. We can cover the expenses of that camp, and so we'll see you in the 1700s. I hope. Thank you.
Amanda, it's a hard job what she does. And when I use the word indoctrinate, even though I laugh and I kid, I was a homeschooler years ago, and before nobody was homeschooling, and we were the real weirdos. And once someone said to me, "What's like to indoctrinate your kids with what you think?" Yeah, right. And Liberty Camp gives them the history they need to hear, or maybe even undo what they heard in school. Correct, Linda?
Exactly.
I know you've been there. So, without further ado, we have Jeannie Mazeras, our voter integrity person. Come on up, Jeannie. This is a true patriot with a lot of good information. Okay.
All right. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? All right. They've given me a certain amount of time, so I'm going to speed talk. You guys ready? Yeah. Here we go. Let me make sure it works. My name is Jeannie Mazeras. I'm one of the board members of the Ohio Election Integrity Network. Our mission statement is to achieve fair, free, honest, and transparent elections in Ohio. You've probably heard me talk before. I'm going to give you an update tonight on what we've been doing last year and what we plan to do this year. In 2024, some of the things that we accomplished were stopping House Bill 78. It would have allowed digital driver license as a form of voter verification. They're not safe, and we didn't want that, and so we fought against it. We led voter roll challenges using 257 forms in 15 different counties in Ohio and had some successes. Again, it was a learning curve. We authored a resolution and a constitutional amendment to codify Trump's call to safeguard election systems. We pioneered legislation. The whole legislation area is difficult, okay? But we pioneered legislation to upgrade the voter system certification to a critical infrastructure standard. The standard is way past. In other words, the security systems need to be updated, and they haven't done it for years and years and years. And we worked on legislation to bring it up to par. A couple of other things that we did is we led a coalition of advocacy groups to endorse an open letter of concern to the Secretary of State and the state representatives to address evidence-based voter registration and election fraud in Ohio. Things that we had factual, we brought to their attention. And then we assisted in recruiting over 2,000 Ohio election observers for the November 2024 election. That was the highest number that we've ever had, and it's eyes on people. It was a good thing. Yeah. So after after November, in November, after the election, we took a huge deep breath and everybody kind of relaxed a little bit, or a lot, because we've been working like crazy. And at the beginning of this year, when Trump was brought into his administration, it's like Christmas every day to me, okay? I know that you probably heard that with other people, but it's...
I say that all the time.
I know. I might not agree with everything that he does, but it's like Christmas every day. And then at the beginning of the year, we defined what are OEIN's next steps in election integrity in 2025. Those are the things that I want to talk about today. There are 4 different areas that we're going to focus on: building up county task forces, legislation, voter rolls, and we smushed together media, education, and communication because they all kind of run together when you start talking about election integrity. The first one, building up county task forces. Active, but there are 51 different counties that tune into what we have to say. Of those, we have task force leaders in 24 of those counties. We want a task force leader in every county, and so that is a focus for this year. We want to help establish and build county task forces in those counties that have forces already. We want to build them up even greater, and for those counties that we don't have anybody in, we want to find contacts, people that are interested in election integrity, and we want them to come on board with us and start building their own county task force. We want to appoint leaders, mentor leaders, and then recruit members. Okay. Basic goals. We want it to go across all of the counties in Ohio. The second area of focus is legislation. I told you a minute ago it was kind of a murky area. It's an area that we didn't have a whole lot of experience in. And so for the last 2 years, we've had some hits and we've had some misses. But we know that in 2025, the Ohio legislature, they restart for the year. All the bills that were from last year kind of die, and then they reestablish new bills under different bill numbers. And we wait for the first month or 2 to see what they brought up, and then we decide, what's a good law, what's a bad law, that they're trying to bring to legislation. We want to monitor the new legislation so that we can get a voice in if we think that it is not a good piece of legislation. And we want to lobby against poor legislation, really make noise about it. This is an area that you guys can help in, and I'll tell you about that in a minute. We also want to author some new, I don't know if I lost it, John, new election integrity legislation. Every year, new bills come up, new voter rolls that should not be. Specifically, people that have moved to other states that are on both state rolls, and we want them off of ours. There is no real good mechanism in place right now for when a person moves that they're removed from the state that they were in and voting in. And so we've been using the challenges, the soft challenges, going to a board of elections and saying, we found people, would you check them? And some boards of elections are very open to that, and others, it takes a Form 257 for them to take, just, poo-poo it, but they actually pay attention, poo-poo it, but they actually pay attention to it. Our Board of Elections in Lake County has been very open to this, and so just for your information. And then the fourth area of focus for 2025 is media communications and education. We have a lot of things coming up this year that you're going to want to know about, and we are looking for additional ways to let folks know what's happening in election integrity in Ohio. All right? We have a grocery store looking for signatures. They are to the point with the bill where they're gathering signatures, and we would like you to decline to sign those sign-up sheets, okay? The very beginning, if you start and read it, and I can give you the links to it, it sounds great, and then you get into the guts of it and you realize that they are negating all of the election integrity safe holds that we put on within the legislation, and it will do bad things for us with regards to election integrity rather than good things. That's why we call it wrongs, okay? We also want to communicate and educate on the importance of close primaries in Ohio. Right now they're open, and we know that people cross over and vote for the non-primary candidate, okay, of the other party, so that their opposition is not so great when they actually bring their candidate out. There is a national, this is for your information and what we're trying to also educate and communicate, there's a national initiative for a U.S. Citizens Election Bill of Rights. That's a good thing, okay? The things that are in there, and again, I can give you a link if you're interested. It is opinion about a lot of different things to your legislatures. And so we have something similar that we've been using. It's called a Line Act, and it allows us to do a campaign and let our legislators know what we're thinking about a particular piece of legislation or information or whatever, okay? And so when you get an email and it says a Line Act on it, take a look at it, okay? We're going to be sending out a couple soon on different things, and it's one of our major tools for actually having the people that represent us hear our voice. So many people want an easy way to have their voices be heard, and our use of a Line Act does that. It helps. Questions?
How do you get the Line
It is not, it's an app for us, but it would come to you as an email. The Align Act, it would come to you as an email. So if you're on the distribution list, you would most likely receive it. Chad?
From OEIN?
It would come from Ohio Election Integrity Network, yeah.
So is there any communication with any of the legislators to allow us to get access to seeing
A view into it, and so that was Chad's question. Yes, sir.
Do you know who the bill sponsor is for SB 63?
I have it, I don't have it up here, and I can't get, I think it's Gavarone, but I am not positive.
Jeannie, can you repeat his question?
We want to continue to build a presence in the Board of Elections office. We want to become a partner and liaison with the Board of Elections, continue with the voter roll analysis, and recruit more people for both poll working and for observing. Actions, if you want to take action, you can sign up on our website. I have cards at the back that have the website name on it, so you could get to it. You could attend the OEIN Zoom meetings on Monday evenings to hear what we're doing, so you can see if you would like to join us in any of the initiatives that we're up to. You can join us on Twitter, or you can sign up tonight for our distribution list if you choose. You could become a member on our website for more detail. You can take my card and make contact. But mostly I would encourage you, in this fight that we have, to, Linda.
Do you know when they're going to, or if they're going to allow party identification attached to school board applicants?
I do not know. I'm sorry. Other questions? Yes.
Are you familiar with Dr. Corsi's work with algorithms in the database?
So we had Dr. Corsi here last fall, and I don't know if anything has come from his analysis and his stuff. I haven't heard like a bottom line on it. And that's true of several different initiatives that are out there, not just Dr. Corsi. If you have more info, I'd be interested.
I have his website and some of the more recent things that I can give you.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Other questions? Brian?
It's more of a comment. Lake County Board of Elections, Dante Lewis, the director, he's been extremely transparent with me whenever we have questions or some issues. I've even interviewed him in his office. So if you have any issues that you would like me to ask about, what's happening in Lake County, he's more than willing to, step up and help.
Yeah, I have found the same with Dante. I've been attending the BOE meetings, and so they know who we are, and they know, what we're trying. Bill Baxter worked on some of the 257.
Go to Timberlake, everybody remember that? We were shouted out because they were a hate group. They threatened the church here, they threatened the pastor here, the board here. And the pastor did not want to move the meeting, but the board members were nervous of what the left was doing, trying to keep them out. So when you know you're doing the right thing when that happens.